Alright, hey traders, hope you're doing well. Listen, I'm doing a quick market update on obviously the indices and share some things with you that I think is going to help you. So anyway, so let's go straight into this right now. I'm looking at the indices right now, looking at the S&P 500, and I've been sharing this chart with you guys for quite some time now. You can see that what's been happening, we have this bit of a sideways movement here, of course, but you can see here that this S&P 500 has continued to bounce off these levels through here. So bounce through here, bounce through here. It's been resisting. It's been resisting here for quite some time. Been resistance, been support, and so on and so forth. So what's happening through here, guys, is that you can see how it rejected off there. Now it's come back down again as well too. So you really squeeze it up. And now what's happening is you can see this is actually very bearish, by the way. This is actually it's actually a very weak sign to see. I actually thought we'd likely to get a bit of a high side movement, but we didn't. You can see we've got a bit downside. We are going to break soon, aren't we? You can really see it. We're gonna break real soon, and that's what's gonna happen. Let me just take some things off the screen so they're not so much on the screen here. Let me actually just delete that here. Delete that so we can see it. There we go. Cool. All right. So as we can see now, guys, we can see that we're still in this sort of, if we squeeze this right up, we can see that obviously we're in this channel through here, and there's a support here, but yeah, the market is definitely struggling to move to the, definitely move to the high side, right? It did get a pop to the high side, and now we're getting a move back down to the downside on the S&P. So if it does break this bottom here, then we're likely to have a run back down towards these lows through here, and possibly even back down towards this long term. This is the weekly. This is the weekly chart here. This is the weekly trend line. So possibly even down to this weekly trend line here as well too. So that's what I see on the S&P 500. So that's what I see on the S&P 500. Going back to the Dow Jones 30, you can see here once again is that the market, especially on the Dow Jones 30, I seriously thought we'd get a lot more upside from yesterday. I really did. But as you can see, there's so much weight on this market, isn't there? There's so much weight on this market that we did get a bounce off the S&P and we did get a rally, but look what happened, straight back down. And yeah, it just shows, right? It just shows that there's so much level of there's so much weakness in the market, right? There's so much movement on the downside that's happening here. They talk about a crash coming at the end of the year, maybe September, October. You know what I mean? I was thinking maybe we get a rally to new highs and that happens, but especially with the Dow Jones, right? We're seeing that it's definitely struggling to it's definitely struggling to stay up. You know what I mean? It's you can see the volume as well too on the downside. So definitely very weak there, guys. Very weak. You can see this is the overall support and resistance levels down here, and then obviously you got something going up through here as well too. So yeah, something very small there, not much there, but that's the ultimate support level there, as you can see. And that's obviously the weekly trend line there. It's been bouncing off that. So this is what we're in right now with the Dow Jones, up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's where, guys, you got to be really careful about the trade selection you're using. So let's go back into the Russell. Once again, you can see Russell stayed in its channel. It did give a bit of a pop to the high side, but came right back down and hover around this level through here. And as you can see, that's what's happening now. If I take everything off the screen so you can get a good look at it, you can see once again we're creating these low peaks, low troughs, low peaks, low troughs. So we are on the weak side, okay? Are on the weak side. Same with the Dow Jones, guys. If you look at the Dow Jones, we're just creating low peaks and low troughs. So we are now forming that low peak, low trough, and we are starting now to get very weak on the downside. The buyers are struggling to keep this up, and every time the buyers get in, the sellers are hammering it, as you can see. Same with the Russell, and also now with the Nasdaq as well too. The Nasdaq has just formed another small little low peak here, and this has had a bit of a head and shoulder formation, came down, had a bit of update, then another down day with the volume. That's actually very weak, guys. It's not something that that the market's saying right now that it's obviously it wants a lot more downside. So that's what I see, guys. It's yeah, just by looking at the peaks and troughs and who's in control of this, as you can see, especially on the Nasdaq, we are getting a lot of weak movement through here. yeah, we obviously, you see the volume today was obviously a lot bigger than yesterday's volume, and yesterday was a pretty big gap up down, so a big gap up. So more downside, I would say, to come, guys. This is the channel we're in right now. This is the overall long-term weekly trend line that we're in. So again, we're just at all this area of support and resistance. You know what I mean? Especially this sort of area through here as well too. You know, and it's hard to say right now. You know what I mean? But the overall markets, we are starting to create peaks and troughs on the downside. Now the S&P 500, we're not creating peaks and troughs, are we? We're not. We're just sort of going sideways. We're in this sort of this squeezing up pattern, and we are going to break either way. We just don't know where. But as you can see by looking at the Dow Jones, looking at all those other markets, that the market is very, very weak. And when you're looking at who's in control, right now S&P, that no one's in control. Dow Jones, sellers in control with lower peaks, lower troughs. Russell, lower peaks, lower troughs, and also the Nasdaq. We also started forming a lower peak through here, and now this actually was also a lower trough as well too. So sellers are in control, guys. So don't be too surprised to see more downward movement. You know, I did expect to see a lot more upward movement, especially on the Dow Jones. We're really at that weekly support level there. But as you can see, it held, so don't be too surprised at that. I wouldn't be too surprised to see some of these levels now broken, and we move more to the downside. So, anyway, guys, that's it for me. Have a great day. One thing I do want to say, guys, is make sure that when you're going through your trade selection. This morning I probably had maybe 6 or 7 different trades on my list of look into them all, and then I only took a couple of those. I only took 2 trades this morning out of 6 or 7 really nice setups. And the only reason why is because there's these 2 different trades were the trades that I just said, you know what, I'm really happy taking these, and that's what you need to do. You know, every time you take a trade, say, you know what, I'm really confident, I'm really happy taking these setups. So, anyway, guys, that's it for me. Have an amazing day. Remember, success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.